Coming at you live from my home studio in beautiful La Puente, California. Finally dry-ish La Puente, California. This is the All Dodgers Podcast. What is going on, my fancy Dodger people? That's what I'm going with. I don't know how to not say the other thing. I mean, I know how, but we'll get through it. But hey, on today's show, pitchers and catchers have reported. It is Spring Training 2024. We're going to talk about little sights and sounds out of Camelback Ranch. Not too many sights, not too many sounds, but we are going to, just talk about what we saw pop up on the Twitterverse today. The big stuff, of course, out of Camelback. Clayton Kershaw was closer to retiring maybe than we all thought, maybe than we feared. I don't know, but we'll talk about the Kershaw situation. Some of the words that he had to say revealed very, very open was Kershaw to reporters. I'll have an excerpt of a conversation I had. It was a very loose, friendly conversation with my friend Gail Johnson, one of the founding members of the Kershaw Booster Club on the Twitter X machine, plus general Dodgers notes, news, all the latest things out of Camelback, out of Dodger camp, in another edition here of All Dodgers Live. Of course, you guys know me. I put the little bug down here now, finally. That's my name. You can find me on those under that social handle on those social things if you care. Find me at alldodgers.com. So I feel like I'm not writing to myself. Appreciate the support so far there on the site. The team, which is me and two other people, we're very, very excited, and hopefully, things keep growing. It could be a fun site, a fun area that's a little bit different than what we know and see in terms of Dodger news online. But guys, let me know where you're representing your Dodger fandom tonight on this Thirsty Thursday. Cheers. I brought out the proper mug. It is a Whiskey Thursday, but if you guys can't watch these live, don't forget, this show is part of the Believe network of podcasts, so find me on the Apple, find me on the iTunes, as they call it back in my day, Spotify, iHeartRadio. But let's see what's going on in the comments. I want to know what's going on with you guys today. It's a special day because it is the start of spring training. I don't know if you guys saw my little intro card. It doesn't say live streams all off season long. It says all season long. Let's get into the comments. As the first one I see here, not the first in the chat, but the first one I happen to see where my eyes look down. James Rodriguez says, smash that like button. That's a really, really good point, guys. Hit that thumbs up button. If you guys don't mind hitting the subscribe while you're here, it really helps out the channel with what we are doing. But breathe, exhale. Mr. John Rod's in the chat saying, let's do this. It is spring training time. Bob Nightingale in the chat. We got BC in the chat. We got, who else? James Rodriguez in the chat saying, what's good? Dodgers fan, what is good to you, James? Bob Nightingale wants to be a part of the show. One of the things I do want to maybe experiment with this spring training is I said when we first launched this channel, when we first started this venture, I wanted to have, some guys here involved in the show. Some of you folks, you find folks in the stream involved some way, shape, or form. I haven't really been able to figure that one out yet. A lot of other little things going on, in the background around what I'm building up right now, what we're trying to build up right now. But hopefully at some point, I might open, like at the bare minimum, a text line or a voicemail line. I think that could be something fun. So stay tuned for that one. William Andrews in the chat saying, love the preview video with Jeff. That's right. I don't know which one you're talking about because I've had two Jeffs on, but of course today dropped the video with Jeff Spiegel of Dodger Blue. I tried to keep them as tight as possible. I don't want to go into a 45-minute, hour discussion on them because we very much could have when we're talking about starting pitching, but a nice tight half hour-ish with Jeff Spiegel. Appreciate his time. Of course, yesterday dropped the Jeff Snyder Locked On Dodgers conversation, and I gave him I know Jeff, I love my guy there. I know I could throw him anything and he could pull something out of his ass to talk about with the Dodgers, and so I gave him the combination outfield and bench, and we had a really good time talking about that. And of course the debut episode on Tuesday with Blake Harris of Thinking Blue talking about the bullpen. The series finale drops tomorrow with D-Mac, of course. Got to have my cleanup hitter, Doug McCain. So that is recorded. It will drop tomorrow. We'll talk a little bit about that more in a second. But Noah also said, saw the video with Jeff, loved it, and says hi to everybody here in the chat. He's about to drive, so don't expect too many chats from Noah Ortega, but at least we know he's here hanging out with us. Coach Charlie in the chat saying, you're killing it, Clint, checking in from San Jose. Appreciate you checking in, Coach. We got Sarah Morris saying, hi, Clint. How you doing, Sarah? Thanks for hanging out with us tonight on this Thirsty Thursday again. Matty Man 5 Dodge thinks I should not put anybody on the channel with me because I would not survive. Listen, I worked with Doug for 4 years. I could survive anything. Hey, I love that guy. He's a fun dude. Roy Estrada bringing up the Kobe ceremony. You know what? Obviously, the most viral moment of that was Vanessa Bryant crushing it by saying, if you don't like the pose, you know, tough shit. This was Kobe's decision, and I love that. I love the series that they're going to, you know, it's not one statue, you know. There's going to be leave a legacy as Kobe has done. So hopefully, I would like to get out and see the statue at some point in time, but I have not yet because, you know, it's a stream Thursday. I can't do anything. I'm not allowed to leave the house. Diane's in the chat apologizing because she's been actually working for a change, and to that I say, how dare you? That is disallowed. We're not here to work. We're here to have a good time. BC wants to see Clint, Doug, and Jeff, everybody collaborating. I don't know that I will be able to pull that one off, but I will see what I can do along the way. I would love to do it. I would absolutely love to do it. I love talking Dodger baseball with anybody and everybody. You know, I do it much to the chagrin of my old lady and Mrs. FRG. The way I will just talk up a storm with people who ask me about the Dodgers. I should tell these people, you know, you got to pay me to want to talk Dodgers. But anyways, I am dicking around here. But guys, let's get into the show. Yes, pitchers, catchers, they have reported they're going to work. They're getting ready for a 2024 championship season, and the sights and sounds at a Camelback were real nice because there was baseball happening. There were players there. There was a Clayton Edward Kershaw at Camelback Ranch. Yoshinobu Yamamoto shows up. Of course, we know Shohei's there. I think it's going to be real hard to get eyes on Shohei at Camelback. But we'll see. It's always been a very, very open complex there at you know, in Glendale, but I think he's going to kind of, I don't know about change some things there, but I wouldn't expect him to be as close to fans regularly as players there usually are. But I don't know, maybe I'm talking out of my ass with that. It's just a sense that I get out of Shohei. He doesn't want to be around too many folks and you know, rubbing too many elbows. As a guy that's laser focused, he wants to get the job done. You know, a little we'll say today for sure. I don't know if you guys saw some of the scenes on the internet. I should have grabbed one of the photos to throw on this stream here, but there was a horde of media outside of like the actual media area, and I think there's a lot of people who are not getting who haven't gotten media access yet, and that's one of the reasons why I haven't like bothered to reach out to any of my connects there. It's like I don't want to be a part of maybe stepping on somebody else's toes or you know, being rejected by the Dodgers or what have you. It's going to be a madhouse all through the season, and I will tell you, Dodger Stadium, it is not equipped to handle that much media, that many reporters, and even worse. This is your insight. I know Camelback Ranch much better than I know Dodger Stadium. I was not very big on going and covering from the stadium, but spent many a morning, many a day at Camelback, and I'll tell you, media, reporters, and all that was absolutely an afterthought when that complex was built in, what was it, 2009, 2010. I would say there was barely enough room. There was not enough room for just the amount of media they had last year. Hell, even in 2020 before the world ended. You know, I went in 19, went in 20. 21 was obviously all messed up. In 22 we went, had a good time, but it was it's not very conducive. Oh, no, that's right. I did not go in 22, but did go in 23. this is not a lot of space there. There's a tiny room. I'm sure you guys see those video clips the Dodgers like to post where they get the guys walking into, walking up the little path out of the parking lot and going into that door or whatever. Right next to that door, there's a tiny room for media and maybe 10 chairs max, 12 chairs. As Diane says, it's going to be a shit show, and I agree. It will be a shit show there. And the press box up, like actual at the field part of it, also not very well equipped to handle that many players or that many members of the media. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be something that I'm glad I'm not involved in it right now or anymore. What happens down the line, we'll let all the pomp and circumstance and excitement die down. But Cooper Neal, my guy, Cooper's in the chat, says they should just come back to Dodgertown and Vero Beach. There's plenty of room out there. I was listening to or watching the Max Muncy chat. He does like a monthly spot with the guys over at Foul Territory, and one of the things they had asked him was like, when do you start getting into Arizona and getting like your housing set up? Because, I would say admittedly, that's something not a lot of folks really do think about, the fact that these are human being people with families that need to travel from their regular off-season home to the spring training home for about a month and a half. And, if we go back to the Vero Beach days, Dodgertown, it was everybody was living there on campus. It was the barracks were there, and that's where Tommy was able and Wall Alston were able to get their beatings in on some of these players. But gone are those days. Now everybody's kind of out doing their own things. Of course, the Stars, they go out and get their own. Some of them, a lot of them have houses already in Arizona, knowing they're going to be here with the team for at least 5 more years, 6, 10 more years, or whatever it is. These people are ready, and they don't want to have to worry about getting housing. But it's one of those little things. So random diversion there as I see Vero Beach, Dodgertown pop up in the chat here. Cody Snavely, what is going on? Canelo says he is super pumped for the start of the season. I could not be more excited for this damn season. How could you not be excited for just after all of this insanity that happened this winter and that following the cold, we'll call it a cold front that we endured the offseason before, everybody leaving, nobody potentially coming back. They replace Cody Bellinger in during the winter meetings with Jason Hayward, and it's like, oh, it's going to be one of those off seasons. And then we're very much rewarded this winter with about $1.3 billion worth of commitments to superstar players. Doom Sal is in the chat. What is going on, Doom Sal? Good to see you in the chat here, saying good evening. Carnivorous Lunar Activity joins us in the chat. What is going on? A lot of names in here on a fun Thirsty Thursday. As long as you're not driving, you guys better be drinking, because it is a Thirsty Thursday all Dodgers live stream. Sarah pointing out does not have a big press box either at Dodger Stadium or Camelback Ranch, so they're going to need to make some changes there, especially if they're going to have the amount of media that's going to be following Shohei and Yamamoto. It's going to be quite insane. Yang Yi in the chat saying, I'm hearing Kenley Jansen rumor coming up again. No, I didn't see it. I don't want to see it. I said the last time we talked about it on the chat, I will not bring it up again until he's in a Dodger uniform, essentially. And I'm going to stick with that. I'm going to stick to my guns and not talk Kenley. But if you guys see something pop up, if we have another one of those shows where something happens, where something crazy happens, you let me know. You sound off in the comments below. We've broken news here before. So, and Rox is in the chat. Gabriel is watching in the chat. Let's see. Selena watching in the chat, of course. As one should. Let's see. Golf Grouch checking in from Venice. Rebecca says, no, Kenley, I agree with you. Mrs. Dingers. And Diane says she had a couple of dirty martinis. So we're in a real good spot for a Thirsty Thursday stream. Carnivorous Interactivity asking, did she have a shoey? No shoeys here. Again, I don't even wear shoes when I do these streams. But let's shift gears a little bit. Before I do shift gears, some people came to the stream a little bit late. I want to do a tad of housekeeping again. I do want to thank you guys for the great response so far to the spring training preview series. Again, I dropped the starting pitching, the rotation one, the greater rotation one today with Jeff Spiegel of Dodger Blue. Talked outfield and bench with Jeff Snyder of Locked On Dodgers. Opened the series talking bullpen because that was the hot commodity that day. They had just re-signed Brazier and then traded away Ferguson, so I had to talk bullpen with my guy Blake Harris at Thinking Blue, and wrapping up the series and the infield. Tomorrow it drops. My guy Doug McCain, Mr. DMac_LA, will join the show. I already have it recorded. It's in the tank, ready to fire it off. I don't know what time to drop these. I don't know if the videos seem to do better when I drop them in the evening, so maybe another 6:30 premiere tomorrow night. If you guys want to see something different, let me know in the comments below, but that's probably what I'm going to stick with. And while you're here, hit that subscribe button and make sure you don't miss these videos. Hit the what do they also call it? The ding. The thing, the voice just did the ding. It's telling you to do the ding. But I want to talk about Kershaw. There's a lot to talk about Kershaw. I dropped the video when he re-signed. Everybody dropped that video. I don't know if everybody saw also. Literally, I think every outlet used the same Kershaw photo, which is hilarious. I guess brilliant minds or lazy minds. But yeah, Kershaw got busy talking to reporters today. We'll say he revealed some stuff. From or kind of open up. He let it all out, more candid than we ever get out of Clayton Kershaw, and I think we know. It's nearing the end of his career. He's into the mid to late 30s now, coming off of his first off his first surgery and another major injury. So you do feel the walls kind of closing in on the Kershaw career, but luckily, at least the next year does have the player option. It's a 2-year deal. It's one of the things I didn't mention in the first video. 2-year deal, or it's a 1-year deal with a player option. So it does eliminate a little bit of the off-season song and dance. It's like, hey, if you want to come back, just do this now. But ultimately, a player option kind of he's. I talked to my friend Gail, and I'm going to play a clip of our conversation. In a few minutes, but. What am I looking for? Words and something, whatever I was talking about. I was talking about Kershaw and things. Oh, yeah, and the 1-year deal. He's already been on like an unofficial, that's what Gail said. He's been on an unofficial, player option. We finally got there, guys. Kershaw's had an unofficial player option for the last 3 years, essentially, and now they made it more official. And what that means doesn't mean very, very much, but it's nice to know, like, hey, if you want to come back, you can, and make it a lot easier and not have to endure an entire offseason of, when's Clayton Kershaw coming back? Well, anyways, but a few of the takeaways, a few of the quotes from the beats out there. Beats doing the Lord's work, so I can sit here and drink. That's not what I do, guys. I'm just not drinking all day. But one of them was interesting. He says, I never really made a big decision in my life. Got drafted by the Dodgers, married the same girl from high school, didn't have many decisions to make along the way. This was really kind of the first offseason where I had some choices to make, and it wasn't easy. And I think that was more about whether or not to continue his career rather than Dodgers or Rangers. I think it was less cut and dry about Dodgers and Rangers. Nobody goes to the Angels. We know this. Kershaw said he didn't want to go out that way. Obviously, 6 runs, a third of an inning. That's not how you want to end your career, whether it be with the team or overall. Clayton wasn't going to do that. And he says, I think that was ultimately how it came, or how I came to it. I went home, and the season, the way it ended, especially for our team and for me personally, it wasn't fun at all. So that kind of, he said he had to sit back and really get past the bad taste in his mouth before making a rash decision. And ultimately it played, he said he appreciated the Dodgers for giving him the amount of time necessary to kind of get to his decision. But he mentioned, obviously he knew that if he wanted to come back, he was going to have that surgery. And that's what he said. If I wanted to do this, it became pretty evident that I had to fix it and get surgery. Surgery for the first time in his career was not a simple one. And as one of the things Jeff Spiegel said on our chat earlier, that dropped earlier on the channel, we should respect the surgery a little bit more. There's no guarantee that 35-year-old Clayton Kershaw comes back and it's ho-hum, we're good, we're just going to go out there and be ready to go. I'm trying to be more positive about it, more optimistic. I hope we can see a dude who comes back throwing 91, 92, 93 and making that slider that much better. But there's a reality where maybe he can't make it back. We're gonna be hopeful. He didn't want to give a timeline. He did say July-ish, August-ish, which is about what we expected later on in the season. But it's a hell of a damn trade deadline pickup if you're able to acquire Clayton Kershaw from the 60-day injured list. Another one of the things we've talked about here on this channel, before I get to the chat for a little bit here, or I've mentioned a lot about Kershaw, and I feel like we've talked so much about Kershaw this offseason. I don't want to get too much into it, but he didn't want to come back just to come back, and he said that. One of the quotes he said, "I expect to be good. I said it before. I don't want to be average. I don't want to pitch just to pitch. I want to be good. I want to contribute and be part of this. So yeah, my expectations are no concessions. Just be good." And he's somebody that we know when he's good. Even when he's bad, he's kind of a Hall of Fame pitcher. When he's good, he's he's out there racking up Cy Young awards and MVPs when he's healthy, when he's right. And I would imagine that shoulder has not been fully right for a long, long time. That's just me guessing. That's just me pontificating about it. But we will see Kershaw here and there. He was just in town, he said, today. Or they said he's just going to be at Camelback today. He flew in, did his physical, set his highs and buys. He's going to come back later in spring training, before they end up leaving to Korea, and then he's going to be joining the team when they're home on homestands in LA. That's where he'll be joining the team, and then fly back to Texas when they're on the road. So it also helps, kind of satiate that desire to be dad, to be the family man. Let him be home, let him spend a few more months at home. Come be with the boys when they're at home, and be feel like you're a part of the team. Something we saw like Gavin Lux do. He mentioned not being happy, not being around the team, and he felt a lot better when he was able to join the team from Arizona when that knee healed up a little bit more during the season. But the final note from him directly, and then we'll do some comments for sure. I want to know what you guys think about this situation. And then afterwards, like I said, I have a clip of an excerpt of a conversation I had with my friend Gail Johnson, who from the Internet Machine. But the last thing Clayton kind of touched on was the state of the team. The talent is probably the best I've ever been a part of, and we've heard him say that a few times. And usually he's right, and again, he's right. This is by far the most potentially dominant, and not evil, but we'll just say very, very dominant team. He says, I'm hopeful that I can be a part of it too. So let's get into the comments here. Carnivorous Lunar Activity says, Kershaw is literally working from home. You know what? We grow up wanting to not do homework, and we get older and we just want to work from home, and Clayton can do it. He can do it. He's got a pretty nice house too. I don't know if you guys have seen it inside and out of that place, but Man 5 Dodge, great comment here. I don't do fire takes, but I'll do a whistle, because why not? It says Clayton smells a championship. It tastes like World Series. It tastes like piece of metal in here. I agree. Doom Sal being a little more, I guess we'll say slightly more pessimistic, giving Kershaw a 50-50 chance that he does pitch this year. I decided to be bold. I said 92, 93% chance, because that's what I'm hoping the velo can get back up to on the fastball. But again, this is a pretty significant surgery that he underwent, and I think I would not be shocked to see, or to, how do I want to word this? It's not so much shocked. It's like, I don't think it's a far stretch to say that the reason, maybe a part of the reason that player option was there was, if he can't come back this year, it'll be that much easier just to say, no, I'm ready to come back next year. Give him that option if he's unable to do it. Because I think if he's not able to do it this year, it's not something that will knock him out for the rest of his career. Maybe. I believe he would be able to I believe he'll be able to come back this year, but worst case scenario, 2025, 100% on the table. Grayson asking, switching gears ever so slightly, do we care about 98.9% of our pitchers being righty? I made a little more of a deal out of it what are you doing here? At the start of the off season. I just want people that can get dudes out. I don't care from which arm they throw. That said, I would prefer to see one more dominant lefty somewhere, whether it be in the bullpen, whether it be in the starting rotation, or whether it be in this chat where Diane has a good point. You guys should be mashing that thumbs up button if you want a dominant reliever to be left-handed and join the team. But hey, shameless plug to plug in there. But we got to do what Diane says, guys. But I don't care. I don't care so much. Is it perfect? No. Is it that big of a deal? Not really. I think again, all you got to do is just get outs. Get people that can get outs. Don't let anybody be Noah Syndergaard. Carnivorous Lunar Activity dropping us or hitting us with our daily F the pitch clock. So cheers to that. Dodgers Daily, my friend Casey in the chat. What's going on, Casey? Saying it's been a great offseason. Can't wait to get things started. This is that fun part where now it's just moving forward and it's that different checkbox. Right now it's pitchers and catchers. Okay, well now I want to see full squad workout. Okay, well now I want to see the dudes dressing up. Now I want to see photo day and these guys doing their stupid poses. And then I want to see game 1 of the Cactus League. And now I want to see Bobby Miller make his first start in the Cactus League, or Yamamoto. There's so many those little tent poles, those little checkbox things that we're going to be able to enjoy for the next month plus before they take off to Korea. And then we can have some real early starts before they come back and play the Angels for 3 meaningless games, which, I hate doing this whole thing. I guess we don't need to worry about it. Kershaw's not going to Korea. He doesn't need to. But, last time they did that overnight opening day thing in Australia, it's one of the first things that started ruining Kershaw's career. But anyway, can't wait to get things started either, Casey, for sure. Yang Yi, Kershaw will be a role model and a great mentor for all Dodgers young pitching prospects. He can help the Dodgers on and off the field. Yeah, this is another one of those dudes where he's a living encyclopedia of not only pitching but also of the Los Angeles Dodgers, and that's something that we keep getting older. We keep losing more and more of these legends, and you're losing more of that legacy that was passed down from Lasorda to into Karros and all these guys before, whether it be a Mickey Hatcher, who's of course still around, Karros still around and all that, but that whole legacy, it's kind of fading away, and I think we could blame the Fox ownership era for ruining a lot of relationships, but we get some of these folks that are still coming back. I hope one day, we see Andre Ethier coming back, and I love that, and I think he's one of the guys who's kind of a steward, the younger old generation of that's a steward of the legacy of the organization. But I want to see Matt Kemp come back. Let's see some Russell Martin come back here in Dodger Blue. We see James Loney here and there. You love to see that, and Kershaw will be one of those guys too. If you spent any spring training time in Vero Beach, they owe it to the fan base. They owe it to the organization to be an important part of the franchise and the legacy of the organization moving forward. Let's see. I know I saw one earlier that kind of sidetracked me a little bit from Mr. Seabad. I did want to address it, saying a question for me, am I exhausted yet? I went from NLDS disaster to leaving DN to create my own blue starship to covering the craziest Dodger offseason ever, and now spring training. You know what they say, built different, built different. No, this is what I know. This is what I like. And if I could find a way to, I'm going to be watching my team. I'm going to be talking about my team. I feel like I have a few useful things to tell folks, and I love, spreading the good word of Dodgers myself, or sometimes the bad word of Dodgers myself. So I'm always hyped. I'm always ready to do this kind of stuff. If people would want it, I wouldn't be opposed to doing a live stream, probably a shorter one, but like a live stream 5 days a week, 7 days a week, whatever. Probably is a lot. It's probably overkill. I think you guys will get burned out on me. I would probably get more burned out that way. But I think we're in a good spot right now, and I'm ready to cover more than try to manufacture things to talk about. So I appreciate the Dodgers for giving us so many things to talk about this winter, and also timing a few of the signings during these live streams. So I appreciate the comment, the question, the concern, I guess it kind of sort of is, but let's so this one takes a little bit of a setup. What do you want? Oh, apparently Alexa thought I was talking to it. No, thank you, Alexa. No, thank you. Go away. Hey, this is live, guys. So yesterday, I took a little bit of time to chat with my friend Gail Johnson, who used to write, do some editorials and columns and things for me at Dodgers Nation back in the day. She actually predated me there for maybe a couple of weeks back in 2018, and she's my number one Clayton Kershaw fan. And since I've come back here, since we've been doing this show, I've really enjoyed talking to people like my friend Kevin Perez Allen. We started Blue Heaven together, having him on the show, of course, Doug, people like Tim Rogers and my guy AJ Gonzalez, and I know Gail had that little bit of back of mind jealousy, like, oh damn, I would have loved to have been a part of at least like the Tim and AJ episode. But I said, look, I got something earmarked for you. I want to talk Kershaw with you a little bit. And to be fair, I kind of messed up. I didn't do anything. I didn't really line up any questions. It was more of just an overall conversation that I had with Gail about Kershaw. But there's one part of the conversation that I really, really liked. That it may be sappy to folks or whatever, but I think it's just more about Kershaw, the dude, and the fact that we get to keep having Kershaw here. So I'm going to play this clip here. If you guys want to hang out and just kind of vibe with me being here, but not talking to you directly live for a little more than 5 minutes or whatever it was. I hope you enjoy it. But this is part of my conversation with Gail about Mr. Clayton Edward Kershaw.
Okay, so this is something Clayton posted April 19th, 2018. So back when we had Throwback Thursday. Remember Throwback Thursday to high school in Dallas, Texas. One class period on an ordinary Monday night became a defining moment for me. The teacher went around the room and asked students to share their dreams and the people who had been influential in their lives. It was finally my turn, and I knew my answer would probably get some critique. I told everyone in that class that the people who influenced my life were professional athletes. Then I confidently declared that my dream was to play baseball professionally. There were a few chuckles from some friends in the back of the room who all knew where this was going. But I stood my ground, knowing somewhere in my heart that it was a dream worth stating, chasing, and even defending. The teacher was gracious in this response, but he got right to the point. He explained to me that goals were certainly important, but that we should always consider the odds. He reminded me of the statistics. With a hint of sarcasm, I told the teacher that he had crushed my dream. He could tell that his speech about the odds had left me dejected, so he quickly shifted gears and tried to encourage me. I do want you to understand the odds, Clayton. They are 1 in a million. But the important thing is that you see yourself as the one. Don't think about the million. Visualize yourself being the one who makes it. You are the one. Be the one. And then he writes, I could have written it off as a lame attempt to salvage my dream, but something actually clicked inside me at that moment. My teacher's comments inspired my focus on the dream. He hit the nail on the head. Be the one. I started to visualize myself as the one who would make it. Through a teacher in an elective leadership class, the Lord lit a fire underneath me that propelled me towards becoming more of the man he intended me to be. And I just thought that I think I probably, like I am, you may not know this, but I have an emotional side to me, especially when it comes to baseball. And I think I bawled my eyes out when I read this because I really think he became that 1 in a million. He's a 1 in a million athlete and person. And I just found that quite inspiring.
And he's
1 in a million.
Importantly, back in Dodger blue, hopefully for the rest of his career. One of the things that I loved, I do love that McCullough was the one who wrote the article for The Athletic about Kersh. I'm sure.
And he's going to write the last chapter of the book.
And he's going to write the last chapter of that book that he's been hawking now for the last 6 months or so. What's going on, Andy?
Whenever I get the delivery date from Amazon, I'm going to book the day off work and read it. I can't wait.
But what I loved is that it's 1 year with a player option. They're giving Kershaw, instead of doing this song and dance every year, it's like, look, man, it's your choice. You can do it.
That's actually probably one of the most interesting parts of it, is that it's finally there's always been a player option, but it's never been official. So now we don't have to go through this every year. I think he's either going to be done at the end of the year or he'll just exercise his option. Like maybe he'll finish the year with 2,998 strikeouts, have to come back for two. That's what he's at, right?
Yeah. Well, he needs 56 right now. So coming up on 3K, he needs 56 to get the 3K. And,
and he'll, but anyway,
the question is funny. So before, recording this, talking to Doug, and I asked him about Kershaw, and he brought that up. He mentioned, it's like, what happens if he finishes like 5 or 10 short, or even 2 short, and then they go and win a World Series? It's like, are you going to come back again? Like,
does he come back to strike out 2 guys and then retire?
Or are you also going to be that weird dude that shows up to the next season, in street clothes because you've retired, but you're there to do the ring ceremony and all that kind of stuff? I think if he's pitching this year, he's pitching another 2 or 3 years. I think he didn't like so much the way his last year ended, and pitching through the pain that he was, where even though the numbers were good, it's clear nothing was right in that arm, in that shoulder. He just has the uncanny ability to find a way to adapt and adjust and get dudes out. I think we knew something was wrong when he started going to that changeup a whole lot after coming back from the IL. Yeah. But I think that's where he kind of learned, like, I'm not done. Yeah. As much as I need to be home and be dad, I got a couple more in me. Yeah. And selfishly, obviously, we want him to keep, even if now, like, we look at the roster, like, if we're being fair and realistic, where does this guy fit? But you always find a way to fit in Clayton Kershaw.
There'll always be room for Clayton on the Dodgers, and I really respect Friedman and them for the way they've just been upfront about that there's no way that they were going to let, like, he is the Dodgers, right? I mean, you can't even imagine the amount of the legacy, that just.
You can't let him go, man. That's your 1 in a million. You don't let Kershaw
he's
go.
The one.
He is the one. He is the one. So I thought that was something a little fun, a little bit different here. Honestly, that's almost like what it might be like to bring in somebody from the chat to hang out with us on a show. But I appreciate Gail. She was always one of my favorite people that I worked with at Dodgers Nation, and she hadn't written for a long time, or hasn't written for the site for a long time. But there was always something warm and human that came from her mind to her fingers to our eyeballs, and that's a good way of explaining who Gail Johnson is. Just a warm human, and one of the good ones, one of the good fans out there on the internet. But that's enough Kershaw, guys. Let's shift gears. Let's do some news and notes and some things out of Camelback before we get the hell out of here. Sorry, this thing's being a little bit of a douche bucket, but bad segue from douche bucket to saying hello to our friend DJ Jesse in the chat. But burp. Let's take some news and notes, and then get the hell out of here soon enough. I saw in the chat. I think it was. I think it might have been Sarah Morris bringing up the news note. Ryan Brazier. The signing is official as of today. Dustin May, as you would expect, placed on the 60-day injured list. They were never you can't Jeff Snyder posted a really good tweet about it as well on his tweeter machine. They won't bulk. You can't under like the rules, you can't like bulk place 4 or 5 dudes on the 60-day IL. You can only make that designation when you need it to open up a roster spot for somebody else. So that's what they did with May. When the Kershaw deal becomes official tomorrow, maybe Saturday, whatever it is going to be, the next one will be Tony Gonsolin. They don't need, they're going to try to buy as much time as they can for somebody like Nick Frasso, who, he's going to miss the entire year. But if they were to put him on the 60-day IL, that if I remember correctly, that affects like his like service time and how much he would actually be getting paid this year. And if you're able to kick that can down the road, I think they will. But he's going to be one of the guys. Andy Pages might be one of the guys they're able to stash on the 60-day IL. But I think he's come along a lot further in his recovery from shoulder surgery. So maybe not that one, but. The next guy, Tony Gonsolin, will be the guy who goes on the 60-day to open that door for Kershaw. And of course, Kershaw will be somebody that will immediately be available to go on the 60-day IL if they do need another roster spot. One guy they won't need a roster spot for because he was a minor league signing, but he is a non-roster invitee. I wrote about him on the alldodgers.com. Go check out the article. It's very simple, very newsy, with a little bit of sass in there, but a long-time MLB infielder, outfielder, longtime former Diamondback foe, Chris Owings, apparently signed with the team. I mean, if you're talking about a backup to a backup, if you're talking about an absolute emergency sort of situation, this is why you would want somebody like Chris Owings on your team. I don't think we see him unless, it's what's that episode? The softball episode of The Simpsons where Mr. Burns loses his entire lineup as his 9 misfortunes. That would be a 9 misfortunes sort of situation if we see Chris Owings. But at least he's somebody he's been in the show. He's got major league experience. Has not been good for a couple of years. He had a decent enough year with Colorado in 21 and 22, but very, very small sample sizes. Has not played consistently at the big league level since his final year with the D-backs in 2018. But you know what? He can play some short, play some second, play all 3 outfield spots, and gives the Dodgers a nice option if our pets' heads are falling off, if Gavin Lux gets hurt, if CT gets hurt, if Rojas gets hurt, if Miguel Vargas gets hurt. So that's somebody that's kind of back burner type of dude. But there's one thing I wanted to pull up here because I was unprepared for that part. So I don't know if you guys also noticed there was a clip. Well, there's two things. So Josh Hader did a chat with the guys over at Foul Territory today or yesterday, and kind of talked about the end of his time there in San Diego and his reasonings for his desire to not pitch multiple innings and all that. I guess somebody told him like, hey, you really just make your money collecting saves, so there's no reason to go out there and do 2-3 inning saves anymore, whatever it may be. So but part of the conversation, he did confirm the Dodgers were one of the people that were still involved, that were still in the running for Hader's services, but he said it didn't really get very far in conversations. It was the Dodgers, it was the Yankees, a couple of teams that we heard a fair amount about, but I guess to just throw that out there, the Dodgers were really in on everybody, but I think they were probably with somebody like a Hader. They were hoping for the Teoscar Hernandez kind of situation where he sort of just fell into their lap and things became things. But, it didn't. Did somebody, so Roy Estrada asked, Diane, who smashed the like button too hard? Can you smash the like button too hard? I don't believe that because, if I could, I would totally smash the like button right now, but I can't. I'm here. I'm working. I'm humping. I'm hustling. Having a drink. Maybe. I'm having a drink. It's a Whiskey Wednesday on a Thursday, guys. Another one of the things I saw that I wanted just touch on is, how is Cody Bellinger still not like signed? I know it's not Dodgers related, but that's is that Boris kind of overplaying his hand, or is it Cody like just being too stoned to pick up his phone and try to go get a job? I don't know. It's a little bit of an odd situation that Bellinger still isn't signed. What's that fool's name? JD Martinez still isn't signed. Blake Snell still isn't signed. There's a lot of guys still unsigned. And yeah, while the Dodgers are at camp now, the rest of teams report, what is it, on Tuesday or something like that? It's a little sus, a little questionable, I guess we'll say. But I don't know. I just wanted to talk about that. I've had like Cody Bellinger on the like I want to talk about situation for a while. And I didn't, and I figured I'd do it right now because why not? I mean, other than that, there wasn't too much else for me that I was going to bring up. If you guys want to keep chatting about other things, we can. Otherwise, it'll be an early call to the show because, now it's baseball time. Now it's not rumors. Now it's not pontificating. I already dropped a bunch of content this week with some of the fine Dodgers dignitaries here on the internet. So check those out for sure. Carnivorous lunar activity. I did have this as a maybe to talk about on like my side quest of notes. This sort of topic can get you in trouble for sure on the line on the internet machine. It's definitely something where I've dealt with the legal side of it. People coming after me for things I wrote that were just, it wasn't like a hit piece or anything. It was just some miswording in reporting of the news. But he mentions the Bauer thing. I mean, it's something worth talking about. Trevor Bauer, he's going out. He's going all in on trying to say, like, hey, I want to pitch. I don't care how much I make. I don't care where I go. It's interesting. I think, I've seen some of the defenders, try to say like, oh, this is bad, like MLB blacklisting him or whatever. I don't think it's a blacklist situation. This isn't something that's coming from MLB. This is the ramifications of his decisions to never take any sort of ownership as of the situation he ended up finding himself in as a public facing person. He still never really said like I'm sorry for putting even like my fans in this situation they find themselves in or whatever. There's not like an I'm sorry. There's always a staunch like I didn't do anything wrong. And yeah, if he believes that, that's on him. I'm not going to say one way or the other. I think there was some malfeasance at play for sure. I don't think there was anything, apparently nothing that was legally proven, obviously not charged, but he's also somebody, if we're talking about just from a baseball standpoint, if you're looking at organizations and team ownership, there's a lot that goes into a signing like that. There's the fan base. There's, I'm assuming, the owners' wives and mistresses that might have an opinion on it. And I understand what Bauer's trying to say. Like, I'll play for the league minimum. I'll, so if something happens, they're able to just cut me, and it's no loss, no harm, no foul. But that's not the reality of it. There, the players, the players' agreement, the CBA. There are things that say that you can't just cut a player because you don't like them or it's a distraction to the team or whatever. There has to be solid reasoning for trimming and cutting a player from your roster. But considering where we're at in the offseason, and yeah, it's been a very slow offseason, just talking about Blake Snell, Cody Bellinger being unsigned, and Bauer in the same breath, somebody who obviously he's trying to lean on the 2020 Cy Young Award. And that's his rightfully so. He is the Cy Young Award winner for that season, but at some point, some team they have to look at the character and at the PR that comes with it. And I think, I like what Selena said. Bauer is a liability in more ways than three. We'll say he's a liability. Plus, this is somebody that hasn't pitched at the big league level for 2.5 seasons, and yeah, he did well. He definitely did well in Japan when he was healthy, but that might not translate. So I don't know. And he could do his media rounds. He can do his his Joe Rogan type podcasts and all that kind of stuff. You're trying to change the opinions of the wrong person with the people, the outlets he's talking to. And obviously the other outlets probably are much less interested in giving him the time of day. I really don't see a world, even like in a minor league deal, I don't see a world where a team is willing to deal with all of that, to deal with the noise that surrounds it. There are a lot of teams where they're not really in it. They I don't know how much love. I mean, the Oakland A's, what does John Fisher have to lose to sign somebody like Trevor Bauer and give him a shot? But even that guy can't see a good deal when it comes up and bites him in the ass. And maybe that's a smart thing, or that maybe that's something where he doesn't know how to run a baseball team. But that's a whole different conversation. But I mean, it's been. I don't want to say it's been sad to watch the Bauer situation, because he put himself in the situation with his decisions, leading up to, we'll call it event, where, yeah, there's obviously some very fishy business going on in the side of the one known, what are we calling her? Victim is not the word. That's not the word I'm going for, but accuser. And that, obviously, all of that legally went nowhere. It was settled out of court where nobody paid any money. There was nothing there. But there are also other accusers involved in the situation. And I think, he's being very specific and only focusing on that one, only focusing on the legal things that have gone his way. I would not want that on my team. I do not think there's any space for him on the Los Angeles Dodgers. I'll say that much. But to button up the topic and the question, I think it's an interesting situation to watch, and I'm glad to know that my team doesn't need to get involved. They already have everybody they need and more to go out and win themselves a World Series championship. Been there, done that, and that's about what it is. I don't want to give the man too much of a platform here. He's got enough of a platform. So I'm going to read a positive comment here, because Lucas Benitez says, Clint, I effing love, well, it says Banris, but it's supposed to be Austin Barnes. And I want to end on something positive. I, too, love Austin Barnes. I remember one of the first, 24 articles I wrote for the other publication was about Mr. Austin Barnes, and, the hope that he could rebound and get back into that 2017 stride, and just plainly did not pan out. But, I had the conversation in episode 2 of the spring training miniseries where I spoke with Jeff Snyder about him. And I was, Jeff, Mr. Snyder, Snide Dog, if you will. He very, very much not a Barnesy defender. I think I might be the lone, Barnesy defender, because I don't think you can do very much damage as somebody who plays once or twice a week at most. And I think he opens up a lot more value as a player. But I also agree with what Jeff said, and check it out if you guys did not see episode 2 of the spring training season preview. But I also agree that how did Jeff say it? He said he can provide as much value being on the injured list as he can. He can provide more value being on the injured list as he can, or than he can on the active roster. And I thought that was kind of interesting, kind of funny, and kind of, not wrong. I guess. I mean, we could presume that Hunter Fiducia would be an upgrade over Austin Barnes, but you know what? Clayton's back now, so Barnesy ain't going nowhere. And Riverside represent. Mike Boyer hanging out in the chat says, asking, do you think the Dodgers make any more moves before opening day? There's still lots of unsigned free agents. Major moves, I do not see. I really don't see the major move. Other bits and pieces, minor league signings, definitely in the realm of possibility. But you know, I really don't feel it anymore. I think if they did sign somebody else, like, and especially, you know, just talking with everybody, with Doug, the Jeffs, with Blake this week, it's like, where are all of these other people going to sign or going to play? They don't really have much roster space. You know, I wrote a long bullpen, I'll call it a thesis, on the alldodgers.com. Check out the article, it'll make me feel better. But as I'm kind of piecing it together, you know, the bullpen is already set. There's a lot of competition heading into spring training, but there's no real competition going into the season, I guess we'll say. Like, really what they wanted, provided Blake Trinan's healthy, provided JP Fireeisen is healthy, those guys can get outs during spring training. If Dan Hudson can prove himself healthy, you know, the team will have a couple extra roster spots to play with, pitching roster spots to play with when they're in Korea. And then, you know, an extra one or two for regular opening day because, you know, somebody like, or because Walker Buehler is going to be on the IL to open the season, so that puts Ryan Yarbrough or Emmett Sheehan in the rotation. I just don't know where you would fit anybody on the roster. I really do not, unless it's a game changer. You know, if you're, I don't even know if it's a game changer to like swap out Cody Bellinger with James Outman or something like that. But that's not going to happen. That's simply not going to happen. They're not going to spend that much more money and commit the years to somebody like a Cody. Is Wandy Rodriguez still around? Because that would be one that that makes, you know, the most sense for this team. He's a lefty who's been very good for a few years, a number of years, but also at the same time. Oh wait, no, the wrong one. I'm thinking of the Wandy, whatever. There's a lefty. He's with the Yankees the last couple of years. Is Wandy Peralta. He's not going to take Dan Hudson's spot if he's healthy. He's not going to take Fireeisen's spot, Trinan's spot, or any of that kind of stuff. This is just the reality of it. This team already built its roster, and it's kind of set in place heading into spring training. There's not much to figure out, and that's what we all kind of discovered during during this spring training mini series preview, whatever we want to call it here. Let's scroll down a little bit. What's going on here? Let's scroll down a little bit here. I got a well said Clint from Carnivorous Lunar Activity on my Bauer diatribe, so I appreciate that. Let's see what else we got. Rebecca Romero giving us an Austin Barnes season. Hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Sarah Morris agrees with me on Bauer and on Barnesy. So we appreciate the love here. James Rodriguez says this team would have enough eyes on them without Bauer. They're going to have so many eyes on them this season. Let's not add anything else to the mix that we don't necessarily need, because I already love the starting pitching that's on this roster. I really do. And they've done it. They did it last year. You know, they've done it in the Major League Baseball last year and the year before. So that does play up for me in making it a little bit easier. Hector X, this is what he asked: how many Dodger hats are in my rotation? This is a good question. This is going to be the one that that I'll end on. So I in the rotation right now, I'm like this. This has been the one I've worn for most of the shows, just because it's right next to me. I take it off when I'm done, and then I leave the office and I go cry a little bit. That's kind of been the thing. I have the rest of them up here on my rack here. I have a couple behind me or whatever, but it's mostly just the one. It's been the one on this show, and if not, out in the real world when I'm wearing my cap. I got my 2020. Oh, God, everything's falling. This is a bad idea. I got my World Series champion hat, and I've got my 20 postseason hat, which is the reason the team won, because I was wearing that hat. So you guys are welcome, but I need to add more hats to the rotation. I did add a few more. Mrs. FRG and I added a few more bobbleheads behind, as you guys can see. I pulled out the Vin Scully microphone down here as we were cleaning up some things in the garage. But yeah, there's more. There's more of the bobbleheads, but that's about where we're at. And this part's going to be a real good part of the show for the audio only version of the podcast. I'll probably cut it out, but you know what? Tube in on the audio side of the podcast and see if I did cut it out. You know, we are on the Apple Podcasts, we're on Spotify, on iTunes, part of the Believe network of podcasts. If people watch or listen there more, I think I would actually get more money from them. But I don't really. I'm here. I'm here for you guys. This is what this is about. So do what Diane said. Smash that like button for a great channel. Smash that like button for pitchers and catchers being here. We got a lot of great season ahead of us, and I'm looking forward to talking Dodger baseball with you guys along the way. Stay tuned. Friday, I'm dropping the series finale, the spring training preview series finale with Doug McCain. We are talking infield. We got a lot to cover in that episode, so I'm going to that will probably be another premiere. I'll be in the chat with you guys as well during the premiere. I'll set that for 6:30 on Friday, 6:30 p.m. Pacific on Friday. But guys, thank you for watching. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for the questions, the comments, for pushing me to talk about something I didn't want to talk about at the end of the show. I am Real FRG, as you can see right there. Right there. I'm that guy. That was a horrible waste of time, but I'm Real FRG on the things. The links are in the description. Find me there. Hopefully hopefully, if you didn't do it yet, hopefully we earned a thumbs up and a subscription from you on the way out. And we will end with Carnivorous Lunar Activity saying, fire Dave Roberts. I'll see you guys on Monday. Bye.